And very good morning, guys. Today's remote lesson is on fuel cells. If you haven't done so already, please complete the retrieval quiz on your Google worksheet. Okay, so let's go through the answers for the retrieval quiz. Make sure you're marking your work and correcting it if you need to. So what makes a chemical cell? We need 2 electrodes and an electrolyte. Number 2, we use metals to make electrodes. Number 3, if we have more than 2 cells together, it is called a battery. Number 4, in a chemical cell, chemical energy is stored. Number 5, that chemical energy is transferred to electrical energy. Number 6, a rechargeable battery can be reused. Number 7 is voltage. Number 8, exothermic gives out heat energy. Number 9, activation energy is the energy needed for a reaction to begin. And combustion is exothermic because it gives out heat energy. Okay, so the title today is fuel cells. Last lesson we looked at chemical cells. You need to be able to describe what a fuel cell is, and the key word for today is a fuel cell. It's a type of chemical cell that reacts hydrogen and oxygen to make water and also produce electrical energy through that reaction. So last lesson we looked at cells and how cells can be used together to make batteries and how the chemical energy is converted to electrical energy. And remember, the difference between a cell and a battery is a cell is a singular cell on its own, and a battery is more than one cell together in a circuit. Now, a fuel cell is a type of cell that produces energy by reacting hydrogen with oxygen. So if you look in the diagram, you can see that we've got our anode and we've got our cathode. So we've got our two electrodes. When our hydrogen goes in, it becomes hydrogen ions. By losing electrons, the electrons flow around the circuit to the cathode, and we've got oxygen coming in this side, hydrogen coming in that side, and it makes water. So the only product of this reaction of a fuel cell is water, and that's a bonus of using fuel cells, is that it doesn't cause pollution. So let's look at the word equation for how a fuel cell produces energy. So we've got our hydrogen gas going in. It reacts with our oxygen gas and it produces water, H2O. So the word equation, the symbol equation for hydrogen gas, it would be H2 plus what's oxygen gas? O2 goes to make H2O. And again, guys, the really good thing about using fuel cells is the only product is water, which doesn't cause pollution. Now, the only one of the problems with using fuel cells is that the hydrogen that we need to react with in the fuel cell, the hydrogen comes from fossil fuels, from crude oil. And fossil fuels are what we call a finite resource. They'll run out one day. So actually, even though it doesn't cause pollution, in the process of getting the reactants needed, pollution is caused. For example, the use of fossil fuels does actually cause carbon dioxide, which is a greenhouse gas. It causes global warming. So what I'd like you to do is go back to the Google worksheet. I want you to follow this link, click on the link, watch the video, and then come back to this lesson video. So go to your student worksheet, you'll find this link for task 1. You need to click it, you need to watch it, and then come back. Okay. So, task 2, I'd like you to complete the checkpoint questions. So just to check how well you're understanding fuel cells, there are 3 questions and then there's a challenge. So pause the video, complete these questions on your worksheet, come back for your answers. Okay, so the answers are as follows. The only product of a hydrogen fuel cell is water. The energy produced is electrical. The word equation is hydrogen plus oxygen goes to make water. And well done if you managed to complete the challenge. H2 plus O2 goes to make H2O. So the advantages and disadvantages of using hydrogen fuel cells. Now remember, advantages are what's good about using them. The disadvantages are what's bad about using them. So the advantages is they're rechargeable. You can reuse them. There's no pollution because the waste product is just water. They're in a very efficient way of producing electrical energy. A continuous supply of energy is provided. Now, the disadvantages, the bad things about using fuel cells, they're more expensive than chemical cells, than batteries. Hydrogen is really flammable, it ignites very easily. And because it's so flammable, it's very difficult to safely transport and safely store. And as I've already told you, most hydrogen comes from fossil fuels. And these fossil fuels do cause greenhouse gases when burnt and when reacted. And another disadvantage, guys, is that it's really difficult to find somewhere to refuel hydrogen fuel cells. So task 3, you need to go back to your Google worksheet. You need to follow this link to watch the video. So pause the lesson video, go and watch this lesson video, and then come back. Okay, so that leads us on to the consolidation of the lesson. So if you go back to your student worksheet, there's this consolidation section. There are, I think, 6 questions, and you need to complete these questions. So go to consolidation. There should be some exam style questions. I would like you to answer them. Pause this video, come back to green pen your answers. Okay, so let's have a look at the answers. Some cars are powered by hydrogen fuel cells. What type of energy is released by a hydrogen fuel cell? It's electrical. 2 reasons why the UK government might encourage the building of more hydrogen filling stations. Less pollution, they're rechargeable cells, it saves on petrol or fossil fuels. And state an advantage, a disadvantage of using hydrogen fuel cells. Hydrogen is highly flammable, it's difficult to transport, and it's difficult to store. So what I'd like you to do is your final RAG rating for the lesson. So looking at the learning intention, you need to describe what a fuel cell is. So you should know a fuel cell is a type of cell that produces electrical energy through reacting hydrogen with oxygen to produce water. So are you red, are you amber, or are you green? Once you've done that, guys, please submit your work to me and I will give you feedback based on how well you've done on the lesson. Thank you for taking the time to access your remote learning.